Right, okay. Good evening everyone and welcome to this Planning and Highway Committee meeting today, the 20th of May. I've just got to read some housekeeping rules, so bear with us. Right, thank you to all members of the public, councillors and officers who are joining us for today's meeting. Councillors and officers are reminded of their commitment to the Civility and Respect Pledge and to be mindful of this during tonight's meeting. Please be aware that the Council is video recording this meeting and this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. I would just like to highlight some key points of the meeting format. Please can I ask everyone to have their phones turned off or set to silent. The fire exits are via the doors out of the chambers at the back and down the external fire escape stairs or via the main entrance that you entered the building through. In the event of a fire, the lift should not be used. The assembly point is outside the Royal Mail Parcel Office on West Street. Please remain seated unless you are invited to speak or need to take a comfort break. The toilet facilities are out in the corridor you entered through. Members of the public are invited to participate in the meeting with key points as follows. Public participation is limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person and must be relating to an item of business on the agenda. As Chair, I will interject if needed to enforce this. For those looking to speak specifically about planning or tree works application on the agenda, you will be invited to speak immediately before the committee considers that application. For those looking to speak on the other agenda items, you will be invited to speak during the public participation agenda item. Please raise your hand to show you wish to speak and I will invite you to speak. If you are comfortable standing, please do so to ensure you can be heard across the room. You do not need to state your name when you start speaking if you do not wish to, but we ask that you clearly state which agenda item you are speaking about. I would ask that participants looking to leave the meeting wait until the end of an agenda item to limit distraction for other participants. Members of the public looking to leave the building will need to be escorted by a council officer. If the meeting goes into... that doesn't apply. To all present, please remember to show respect to others in the meeting and avoid interrupting where possible to enable others to follow the meeting. If any councillor feels concerned about any aspect of the meeting or discussion, please clearly state point of order. I will then gesture for you to elaborate. If anyone present is felt to be behaving unacceptably, they can be ejected from the meeting by resolution. Thank you for listening. On behalf of the Council, I'd like to thank everyone for attending this Town Council meeting. Thank you. So we move on to agenda item 1, apologies for absence.
No apologies, although just to say I think Isabel, who'd usually support the committee, has sent her apologies. She's feeling under the weather, so you've got me and I'll do my best to support you. Thank you.
As always, Georgia.
Yeah, wish Lizzie well from all of us. Agenda item 2, disclosure of interest. To deal with any disclosure by members of any disclosable pecuniary interest and interests other than pecuniary interest as defined under the Seaford Town Council Code of Conduct and Localism Act 2011 in relation to matters on the agenda. Councillor
I have to show yes, it's 14 Keydale Road. I know Rodney Smith, so I will not be able to vote that particularly. It's a quite straightforward one, but as I said, I'll just disclose those.
You won't make any comments.
Thank you. No comments, sorry.
Okay. Nobody else? Right, so we move on to public participation. To deal with any questions or brief representations from members of the public in accordance with relevant legislation and Seaford Town Council policy. In accordance with Town Council policy, members of the public wishing to speak on individual planning applications may do so immediately before each planning application. So at this point, if you're speaking about an application, just I'll let you know. Okay. Right. So, agenda item 4: planning applications for comment. So, planning applications received in the week commencing the 24th of March. LW/25/0175, flat 1, 24 Claremont Road, section 73, retrospective permission for removing existing window, replacing it with external door at the ground floor flat, and erection of fencing to the front. Members of the public like to comment on this application? Open to the committee. Councillor Borman.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Obviously, we had this before us before with removing the existing window, replacing it with the external door, which we fully supported. But this fence to the front is now retrospective as well. And in that area, there is no fencing. There are some hedges, and green hedges, but no fencing, and I think it's out of keeping with the area. So I would not be happy to support this because of the fencing.
Okay. Does that find a seconder? Yes, Councillor Sullivan?
Can I speak, Chair? That's okay. Can I speak?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I agree with Councillor Bourman. It's a bit of standalone fence, effectively, on part of that particular property, and it is sort of open, and it is an open spaced area in that respect. So I would support to not support at this stage. And I think if residents would do anything, it's relying on sort of hedges really, and low level sort of more softer effects than doing sort of fencing per se.
Okay. Councillor Buchanan.
Thank you, Chair. There's just a couple of things. I mean, you're right, there are no particular fences along that road, but all those other gardens are front gardens. I suspect this is trying to create a kind of a rear garden for that particular flat garden. I'm a bit confused, though, I'd have to say, upon the height of the fence that's been proposed. I think it's a lot higher than 1 metre. I mean, there's a boundary wall which is there. If you just put in a metre in wall fence, you're going to come up to there. I think it's at least a metre above that, so it's around about 1.7, 1.8 metre high, which isn't clear at all from the application. And there's no mention of the fence on the design and access statement.
Okay, thank you. Councillor
Following actually on from Councillor Buchanan, the only additions they put since we had the last committee, which we've all seen, is there was just 2 photos done, and they're more or less identical photos. There wasn't any more details given as to what was going on with the fence, and also it wasn't in the initial, it said the design bit, so I'm slightly confused in the sense that the fence doesn't really do much. It's not high.
No.
It's just sort of almost like, why is it there?
Yeah.
Because there is already there is something there. I can't remember if it's hedge or something. I'm slightly. I would have liked more information on this. If
I
they were
think
going
there
to.
is a picture, isn't there?
There is a
Yeah,
picture.
yeah. You've got the site, and then you've got where the fence is going to go, haven't you?
Yeah, there is a picture. I'm just trying to remember because I looked at it at the weekend.
Do you know which document it would be within?
It's just literally where it says photos.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's not. It's a brick wall, but they're only coming up slightly above the brick wall,
Yeah.
and it just seems a bit why.
Actually, it's a different fence on Google Earth.
Yeah.
Try the other picture. So
The
what?
other one's more or less the same, but it's just a slightly different angle.
Oh, that's better. Well, you can see there's a gap there between almost at the fence and the
Okay.
wall, isn't it? It's a bit.
I still can't see the logic
No.
in the fact they've only gained, what, about a foot, if that?
Mm.
But I still think it's
Because the street signs are usually about that high, and
yeah.
then it's sort of about that again, isn't it?
But I think if it's going to be put in retrospective, there should be more details on it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have just been given 2 extra pictures after the date when they last put new information on it.
Councillor Cannon, you want to come back?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just this specific application is just for the fence, because we've already been through the
Yeah.
Yeah,
information
they've
on
sort of
the form.
amended the application, haven't they?
They've amended it so it's for the
To
existing
include
window,
the
replacing it to, changing it to a door and the fencing.
And so it's the fence that's added from the previous. So we're only really judging the fence now, presumably.
Because we were happy with the new door
Hmm.
when it was before us last time, wasn't it? 3 weeks ago or a month ago, and so it's just really the fence. So we have got on the table objection, and it's seconded. So out of character with the area.
Should we have a vote on that, Brett?
Sorry?
Have we had a vote on it?
Not yet.
No.
Oh, okay. So,
No. Just giving our reasons
yeah,
why
yeah,
to
yeah, of
object
course,
to
yeah,
it.
I'm on your side. I don't want to just...
Character to the area. Anything else?
I don't know if it's true, but there might be some sort of covenant or something, some restriction on that property. You don't know. I don't know if they've got as far as that. Or we assume that they've done that. Do we or not? See what I mean? It could be.
Yeah.
Through to, there's nothing wrong with the brick wall.
No.
It's doing a nice job. It's in character. Everything else is in keeping with it. And then we've got a wooden fence stuck behind it about a foot high, and that just...
So it's like Councillor Buchanan said, there's all, if there is height, it's with hedges. Otherwise, it's all walls in that area. So
It just looks really
out of
silly
keeping.
now.
It just doesn't look right.
Yeah. Okay. So, put it to the vote that we object to this application. Can I have a show of hands, please? Those against? Those abstaining? Can I just add something to it? If LDC are minded to pass it, could they, between the wall and the fence, plant a hedge?
In those spaces.
Well, they have to move the fence, won't they?
Mm.
If you remember, we've had that sort of situation in Carlton Road.
The only problem is if you've got a brick wall here and a fence there, the plant will never grow very well because it's not got light all round.
But we have, it has been done in Carlton Road. Yeah. Where you've got the wall and they wanted a fence like up there, and there's sort of a gap like that, and they've put all hedges and it's all grown and concealed the fence. That's the reason why I've suggested
So there
it.
still must be a height as to
Yeah.
what the hedge has to be
Yeah.
stopped at.
Yeah. But it would just sort of give, sort of interest to the... I don't... How does the committee feel about that being added on?
Yeah, I did have a living ornament because I think you find things difficult to grow there. I just don't want to do it.
Looking at the photos, they're not struggling to grow things.
Well, no,
there.
it's in good order actually.
Can I have one thing, sir? I mean, obviously you can see a few plants a bit further down, can't you? I don't know if they're in the gap themselves a bit further to the right. But I think I think sometimes it's just the nature of communal flat living and not on your own. I mean, it's just the nature of that type of accommodation. You can't expect total privacy in that respect if you're out on your yard or garden. They was not too far away.
Yeah.
I know.
It's a front
They was not
garden.
too far away one way or other, and it's.
Anyway,
But, you know, that's-
we've voted, so
Yeah, that's
I
fine,
think
yeah, we're
we'll,
not changing the vote, no, we've done
Councillor-
it.
No, but still, can it be looked at what the covenant said?
Yeah, the
Because,
covenant. I mean,
like, we're not
mentioned that.
Vista, we can't put anything in unmounted, that's got a brick wall, but is there a height with the covenant
Yeah.
that they've got?
Yeah.
Come about 4 foot
yeah.
on both
Okay.
sides.
Okay, we'll move on.
Aye.
Planning applications received the week commencing Monday the 14th of April, LW stroke 25 stroke 0 117 50 Carlton Road,
Sorry,
first floor.
one before that.
Oh dear, Liz. Sorry. Planning applications week commencing the 7th of April, LW stroke 25 stroke 0217 Tierra's Restaurant, Dane Road. Change of use from restaurant to 2-bedroom visitor accommodation at ground floor. Members of the public like to comment on this one? Open to the committee. Councillor Bourne.
Thank you, Chair. It's just a shame to see a restaurant being turned into accommodation. But since COVID, they didn't open as much as some of the other restaurants, and I think it's taken a toll on them. So while I don't mind them converting it to a 2-bedroom accommodation, I'm wondering why it has to be visitor accommodation and not accommodation for residents that are desperately in need for the town. But saying that, this is what's in front of us is visitor accommodation. They are trying to put this out as going to be disability friendly because it's all on one level and wheelchair accessible and everything. But there's no parking. But they have parking spaces available, which they've said on their application that they're keeping for the flats above. But people that are going to visit that are in wheelchairs are less likely to be travelling on the train because the amount of rail replacement that we have down here, and they won't be able to use the coaches that they use to for that rail replacement. So I do think that we have to insist that some of their one parking space is actually used for their visitor accommodation and not just used for street parking, because it could be quite a way away for them as well,
Yeah.
especially if they're aiming it at this disabled. So
It's a good point, that.
I will support the application, but with these provisos.
proviso.
Yeah.
Okay.
I second actually, that's a good point, I hadn't got thought that through actually, to be honest with you, yes, a good point.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. Any other comments? Councillor Richard coming
Historically, I do remember when the whole establishment, top and bottom, was a big restaurant, and years ago the top was converted to flats initially, and part of the bottom's already been converted anyway, isn't it? So it has been going to it's been going in that particular trend. I think in a way, yeah, as Councillor Bourne said, yeah, you've got visitor accommodation versus a normal sort of flat for either rental or buying. Yeah, it's. I think where it is, you could argue visitor could be the way forward because of the location being sent to it. And I agree with in a way the parking side. But having said that, you are quite close to car parks as well. So it's. I don't think you could turn it down on the. You couldn't turn it down on the car parking per se. I don't think it's not enough grounds. So I'd support as well. So.
Councillor Olivia Hunley.
Just to reiterate probably what we've all read anyway as well, that it said in the bonds that they sent about the national plan and SEA 1 visitor accommodation will be supported. So I don't think we can turn this down, but I hadn't thought about Councillor Bourne's comments, and so I definitely would agree that we need to add those in.
Any other comments?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're supporting the application with the proviso of disabled parking space, or just the parking space?
The parking spaces they've got, that
Yeah.
they are used, it's not on street parking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody. So can I have a show of hands of support in this application? Thank you. Right. Planning applications received in the week commencing Monday the 14th of April, LW/25/0117, 50 Carlton Road, first floor, side extension, ground floor, infill to the covered area. Members of the public like to comment? Thank you. Open to the committee. Councillor Buchanan.
Thank you, Chair. It's not small, but it actually looks quite good from where I'm sitting, so I'd support this.
Yeah, I suppose well, it is what it is, Chair. It's what it says on it.
Okay.
It is what it is, and it's...
Okay, you're seconding?
Yep, definitely.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Warren?
Yeah, they're quite large properties and they've got the space to be able to have that quite large extension, so happy to support.
Okay. Right, so can I have a show of hands of support in this application? That's unanimous. Planning applications received in the week commencing the 21st of April, LW/25/0145, 18 The Halt, detached dwelling. Members of the public? Yes, thank you, sir. You've got 4 minutes. Okay.
My name's Kevin, I live at number 16. When I moved to Seaford back in 2016, one of the criteria for a house for me was a south-facing garden, but I found 16 The Halt. It met all my needs except for the south-facing garden, and there was enough space between 16 and 18 for the sun to shine through in the months when the sun is low in the sky, which I found acceptable. The new build will fill this gap, putting my garden in total shade during these months, let alone my kitchen where the sun would be blocked. It's a kitchen with a kitchen diner, and the light source for the dining area is through the glass window on the side door entrance to the house, with the now facing brick wall. My garden is not overlooked by anyone at the present time, due to the gap to one side and the double garage to the other side. The new build would be a matter of 1 metre from my fence, with the upstairs windows directly overlooking my garden. The parking at the end of my street is very limited. It's hard to park anywhere on the road without blocking someone's driveway, and parking where the new build would be is even more so. I cannot see where all the construction and delivery vehicles will park, let alone trying to turn around. It would create a major hazard to members of the public that use the alleyway at the end of the street to get their young children to and from school every day. There are quite a few houses and estates that have or are being built in Seaford at the moment, and the thought of squeezing one house into a gap that would be totally out of place and the rest of the street seems to me to be just a profiteering move. You may say it would be built to blend in, but will it have a garage like all the other houses in the street? 18 did once have a garage, but it was knocked down to make room for another previous house planning attempt that was rejected. Nothing's changed, all the arguments for rejection remain, so I see no reason for it to be passed this time. I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that the builder that bought the house next door has actually got his own website that encourages people to buy property with space to build to make a profit. And he brags on that website has never been refused planning application. I'm saying it's the first time for everything, and I'm hoping this will be the first time. On a personal note, I've been diagnosed with cancer in 2022. I'm currently being treated for it. And last July, completely out of the blue, my wife of 34 years asked for a divorce, which will be finalised at the end of May. And last December, I was rushed to hospital for an emergency operation that ended up removing part of my bowel and a metre of my intestine. And I was only given a 50% chance of survival. But fortunately, I did survive. So you can see the amount of stress I've been going through lately. And to say the least, my mental health isn't particularly good. And the thought of having this house right on my doorstep, not helping at all. So I'm hoping that sense will prevail and you'll reject it. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Teresa Saunders and I live at the other side. So I've got I did have a lovely outlook onto a nice front garden, but the guys they've had new people that have moved in who've got 3 cars, and so it's like a car park outside, and I brought some photos. So the planning application shows that when they have the new houses, there's parking, but there clearly isn't. That's where the car on the
Can I just come and tell you, Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
and you can see where the pavement is, and the car goes way past it, and there's just a few. And you can see how close it is to number 20 as well. It really is on top of it, and that's when they have guests. You can see there's clearly not a lot of parking there. And so it would be, that's looking at my house, you can just see the parking space. But it would be really, really crammed. It was out of character with the whole area, which is nice and spread out. And obviously I'm backing Kev here because he's had a really rough time, he doesn't need all this. And his house will just be totally ruined with all the impact of the house being so close. The lights that he's going to lose, the garden's going to be ruined. And I just think it shouldn't be allowed to happen, personally, because the parking impacts, as Kev was saying, all the children come out the alleyway up from St Peter's Avenue, and a lot of the children there are told not to go on the road, so they'll go on their scooters and their bikes around the pavement, and you've got this car obstructing. Until recently he had the van parked across the pathway too, so the kids couldn't get round. And there's clearly, and that's before you get another house with more parking. So there's clearly not enough room, and it'll just be so overcrowded, and it'll really destroy the ends that close and the turning points which used to be for cars. So I hope you'll take pity on us and kind.
Can I ask you to also contact LDC with your objections so
Yes.
it goes on the
Yes, I will.
website?
Yes, okay.
Okay, so
Yes.
as I say, whatever decision we come to, that goes on the website, but it's good that they, at LDC they see other, comments,
Yes.
so so you can put them,
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, very important you do that, actually.
Okay, open to the committee. Councillor Olivia Hanlon.
Yes, I went and had a walk up to the Holt the other day. I'd also looked at it on Street View. I know when we went to appeal that it did get overturned and it was permitted to be done. But I would be happy if that was done, because the way where it is, the position, I know it's that strip of land, it just feels out of character with the area. And I know the comments the first time round was that
There's a picture on the planning and design access statement.
the first time round it was we objected to it because of the street scene, and I can't see how that's really changed there, because it would literally go in that strip in front, more or less all the way down to where the pavement is. I just think it's out of character. I know when I read some of the appeal, the planning officer thought it was fine, but if this is coming back again,
Yeah.
I would object to this because of its position and everything.
Okay. Councillor Bowman?
Yeah, thank you. Obviously the previous application was 2017, pre our neighbourhood plan. Since then, number 18 has had approved planning for a rear extension, so that decreases the area that they have. And this application, it says there's minor amendments, but actually the property's bigger than what the previous one was. And because they've all put an extension in and it's bigger, it's taking up more room, and that whole area has nice large spacing between properties. You look around the whole area, there's garages separated, and to try and cram something into that area, as we've heard from the objectors, is overlooking, out of character with the area because of the spaciousness of it. I do like the fact they've tried to keep the look of the house very similar to what they have there now, which they didn't last time. It was a little bit more out there, but I'm quite happy to second the objection for those reasons, and the parking impact, because as we've seen from the photos here, and you can just see from the photos they've given, there is going to be an impact for property that size with parking, and there isn't the parking in the area for the street parking because everyone has got quite large driveways.
Councillor Richard Hanlon.
I mean, if you are going to put property in between the two properties, essentially, I mean, a low-level bungalow would be more if you're going to put something, but you're not. But we're not looking at that. That could be more acceptable, but they want to carry on with the status quo, don't they, with the application? So, even though I'd be interested to see what the appeal, if how we're waiting after so many years down the line, especially as we now, as you say, got the neighbourhood plan issues. So in a lot of ways, I think I'd object to what we've got. If we're doing what we're looking at, I'd have to object at the moment. So.
Okay. Any other? Councillor Buchanan?
Thank you, Chair. Just a thought, and I don't know the detail of this, but is there a rights of light issue here?
Rights of light non-performing building control. So the performing building control issues. So when it goes through a planning application, it's then subject to building control. And building control have a right of light which is an angle of 45 degrees to the bottom right hand corner of any window, which have unobstructed lights. But I'm not a building control officer. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to carry on.
I was just throwing it out.
Oh, sorry, Councillor. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Shoehorning properties into little bits of land, it really doesn't sit well with my conscience. And what I'm concerned about is the fact that if the committee decides to reject this particular application, it then goes to appeal, and then we're back to square one. It's come through basically the back door. So I'm going to support Councillor Bowman, so I object to this. We'll have every little bit of green land in Seaford. There'll be like something built on it. We need to get little bits of green land, particularly which break the street scene up to give a visual, not conscious, but actually break it up so we can see like there's a house, there's a bit of land there. And simply just shoehorning a house into basically nothing more than a matchbox is it goes against the grain of it. So I'm going to support Councillor Bowman, say I object to this application.
Yeah, no, it is the nice character of that area, of the openness, and is all for the well-being of the residents. So,
so our neighbourhood plan, the street scene, we have one in there that talks about the street scene and keeping it in line with what's there now, we're building. I can't remember which number it is, so maybe we can add that into our objection. It will be GB.
They're more like elephants.
I can't remember.
GBO1, building alignment, that one?
It, yeah, could be.
The extension.
Councillor Hamilton wanted to say something.
Sorry, I was gonna say-
Councillor Hammond.
I was just going to say then, I'm sorry, maybe we should say, I struggled to find something in the neighbourhood plan about this type of situation,
Yeah,
because obviously it's not an outbuilding,
Mm.
it's not an additional thing, so I did
Character.
struggle to find
Yeah.
something, but
yeah.
there must be something there, as you say, our street scene, our character to the area, there must be something in there that we can reference it to.
That one?
Chair, it breaks up obviously two distinct areas, because obviously you've got the furl area behind, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you have got the areas there as well, so you are breaking up the between, I don't know what you call that, it's like a buffer, isn't it? And that what visual buffer between the two sort of areas, isn't it? Before you start getting into the furl area. Furl road area, obviously behind.
Some developments in that.
It's sort of spaced out, isn't
Yeah,
Yeah.
just,
I kept going across.
we can refer to that. So we've got objection on the table by Councillor Lydia Hammond.
Big road.
So we've got just properties on a larger scale, which Councillor Bourne mentioned. The loss of light, the openness of the street scene, out of character, and the parking impact.
yeah.
Have I covered it all? Was
Yeah, sure. Overdevelopment, perhaps.
sorry?
Overdevelopment, perhaps.
Overdevelopment, yeah.
It's just overdevelopment.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You happy with all those, Councillor Honeyman? You second?
Seconded.
Yeah,
Councillor.
and you're happy? Okay. So can I have a show of hands on refusing this application on those grounds? And that's unanimous.
You can go on.
Okay. You're quite welcome to stay if you'd like to go at this point.
So sorry, Chair, sorry about car parking.
Right, LW stroke 25 stroke 0239, 46A Broad Street, converting the first floor storage rooms into residential one-bedroom living space with a new entrance onto Broad Street via a new staircase that ascends from the ground floor to the first floor. Who'd like to lead on this one?
Sure, it's Broad Street
Councillor
again.
Lord.
Yeah, it's we carry on, just like a Coronation Street, innit? Every time we come in, there's always something being converted into property. I said that. I find it very hard to object to this, to be honest with you. It is what it is, and it's got its own entrance as well. So, but eventually there'll be nothing left in Broad Street. I can see it coming shortly. So, yeah, I'm not comfortable with it. I'm just saying it is what it is, and I'm just going to let other councils have a chat on it first before I make a proposal.
Councillor Allen?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I think this is above the pound store or whatever it's called. Around there. It's creating accommodation in Seaford, which we're kind of looking
Short
for.
off,
The only thing that wasn't clear from this is where the rubbish goes, or how that's dealt with. So that was my only thought of this, because there's no access to the rear of the property from what I can see. So yeah, it's just how you deal with rubbish collection and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whether that's part of this committee.
Yeah, I don't think we'd have to
It's
cover
okay,
that
that's-
part of it, you know. But,
It's
that
in
will-
planning.
that will be picked up, but yeah.
But I'd support the idea, you know, the whole concept of this.
Yeah. You second,
Yes.
Councillor Lord.
I'll second that.
Any other, Councillor Foreman?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think a lot of shops now, they used to store things,
Amazon now, isn't it?
but yeah, they don't have
Just
that
in
high
time.
demand anymore to have a weekly delivery and need to keep on topping up because there's less people using these shops, so they don't
Sure.
need that huge amount of storage. So converting into a one-bedroom flat, it's actually needed in the area. But yeah, I would like to pick up on the
Yeah.
refuge collection. That obviously
Yeah.
it is part of planning, so obviously the waste team will look into it, but that actually just mention it, that we support it with, that's looked into.
Okay, happy with that? Okay, so can I have a show of hands supporting this application? And that's unanimous. Planning application is received in the week commencing Monday the 28th of April. LW stroke 25 stroke 0136 Upper Belgrave Road. Use of existing single-storey side extension as a residential annex. Let's lead on this one. Councillor Borman?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. After reading why, it's to help his brother out, and that it makes perfect sense. And I'm quite happy to support that, but I would like it under maybe a time-limited time, or that it is only used for family, not that in the future it can be used as an additional income for someone else, or even as an Airbnb. Because an Airbnb doesn't need washing facilities because you take them home with you. So I would like something to say, yes, we're happy to support this as a residential for family, but not so it's then as a rental or an Airbnb in the future.
Okay, thank you. Is that found a seconder? Councillor Olivia Honeyman?
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Borman. Because when I looked at this, I thought, well, you're just converting what's already there. And I agree that it's good that the family want their relative to live with them. But yeah, I was concerned, like Councillor Borman was, we need to make sure it's for them specifically.
Yeah.
So even though this isn't being done as an addition, which isn't allowed, but I think on this circumstances, we need to lock it down like we've done previously on some applications.
Yeah, so speak to have wordings for the annex for family use only.
Yeah.
Of that particular family.
Yeah. Okay. Any other?
That's right.
So can I have a show of hands?
Sorry, Chair, just
Councillor Buchanan.
no thought. Actually, if you come to sell this house, the amount of tax you might pay to the government can be reduced if you can demonstrate you have an annex. So and whoever's buying it may want it with an annex for their family. So I'm just not clear necessarily that we want to limit the family use into the future necessarily. But I don't know how you deal with that in terms of freehold and things. But
It's family use, so it's the people that live in that property, it's only for their family.
Yeah.
So if you sell it, the planning would still be for whoever moves in, it's an annex for that family.
or their carer. So I might need a carer at one time. That would be ideal. But they wouldn't be, you know, you wouldn't charge the carer rent, if that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean it could be used for a granny annex, but that sort of thing. We're trying to avoid it being used as
B&B or
yeah.
financial.
Holiday let.
Yeah, holiday let, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Richard.
I mean, we often use the phrase it has to be subservient to the actual house itself, so that's not going to be, but it's not going to be number like 12A. or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to say, that's what we're trying to
That's the
stop,
word.
isn't it?
Subservient, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
that's
trying
what
to
we
think of
use.
that word.
That was one we often.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Right, so can I have a show of hands of supporting this application with those comments, please? And that's unanimous. Thank you. So, South Downs National Park application, SDMP, stroke 25, stroke 01696, stroke scope. Coast Guard Cottages, South Hill, Cookmere Haven. Scoping opinion request. Repair and reinforcement of the existing sea defence with the erection of new inland section of the wall. You've got a report kindly done by Izzy, which gives all the details so far. So I think unless there's any comments, it's really, you know, for noting. Yeah, so it's open to the committee for any comments. Councillor Bournemouth was first.
I propose we note the report.
Councillor Richard Hanlon.
Yes, ultimately, if repairs aren't done, then so many years down the line, the coast guard cottages will be no more. So that's always something to bear in mind. So when we do look at works in the cliffs around that area, so but we're not really supporting it per se tonight. It's more for note, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Any other comments? So, got a proposer to note the report. Is that fine, a seconder? Councillor Olivia Hanneman, and can I have a show of hands, please? And that's unanimous. Okay. Right.
It's the easiest one to note.
Planning applications received week commencing Monday the 5th of May, LW/25/0261, 14 Keydale Road, erection of a single-storey rear extension. Would you like to lead on, Councillor Lord?
No, I can't. I know what it's all about, but I know Rodney as well, so I can't comment on it.
So
Yeah, pushing on. Sorry. Councillor Buchanan.
It doesn't look very big compared to the rest of the house. I'm perfectly happy supporting this extension.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even show the whole house on the plan. I mean,
It's big, actually.
Does that find a seconder? Councillor Borman, any other comments? Can I have a show of hands for supporting this application? And that's unanimous.
It's a bit like a surgery, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got all the old sounds.
Good, put your desk in there, couldn't you?
the sun in there.
Yeah.
Tree applications.
The tree.
TW/25/0041/TPO, The Gables, Bramber Lane. Various trees, but it's a Seaford Town Council application, so it's just there for noting.
So just make sure there's no birds nesting in the trees, Chair. That's all. I make sure
Yeah.
it's bird nesting season then.
It won't be done.
Do we have a pecuniary interest because it's for town
Yeah, it says it
council?
we're not allowed to
Didn't read
that.
that.
Oh, I did,
It says it's for noting only.
Yeah.
We know.
Okay, so moving on to TW/25/0042/TPO, 7 St Mary's Close. We've got sycamore for pruning. Councillor Lord?
It's tough old buggers, sycamores, apart from you cut them down in sycamore gap. Other than that, I think 2 to 3 metres is, I'm sure we don't get chainsaw, I don't know. So 10 foot is a fair bit of pruning, but the tough trees, like I say, so really not many problems or opposing it. Again, bird nesting season, just need to make sure they're aware of that. Other than that, that's fine.
Thank you. Any other comments, Councillor Baldwin?
I'll second that.
Thank you. And can I have a show of hands for supporting this application? That's unanimous. Right. Moving on to agenda item 5, the update report. on page 8. Unless there's any comment,
Not really.
you need to note the report that we're in sync with LDC.
Yeah.
Okay. No comments?
Yeah.
Show has noted. Thank you.
I did that one.
And that concludes the meeting.
Interesting.